It is a gorgeous, gorgeous March day. I'm out over here at the middle school garden, just thinking about growing using limited space and growing in the edges and the unused spaces. Now I have a lot of space here, more than I have like time for right now. I could use up to, I don't know, 2/10 of an acre. But right now I'm kind of working about 1/10 of an acre, and it's a lot. But if you're growing or gardening in a smaller setting, like I have been at my back of my house, you want to take advantage of every inch of space you can, because you don't have much space to grow stuff. And I feel like oftentimes the paths are kind of like a sad disappointment to me. I'm like, oh no, like I have to put a path here, so I can't grow a tomato plant here. But Sebastian and I are out working today, and I'm realizing how much growing space I actually am using the paths for. So this is what the path looked like about 20 minutes ago, and then here's what it kind of looks like now. What I've been doing is digging down, digging through these wood chips and getting to the bottom of the wood chips and not digging into the clay. If you can see here at the very tip of my soil, I've reached the clay. It's hard to see. I've reached the clay, I reached the bottom, and I'm gonna leave that there, but I'm gonna tuck all the wood chips up above. Now, the wood chips on this path have spent the last year sitting on this path doing two things and growing two really excellent things for me. One, they've been growing tons of compost. The wood chips have been breaking down, have been composting. So as I dig out this whole path and I'm gonna place it onto the garden beds are getting a nice fresh layer of essentially compost, wood chip compost. Here's the second thing these paths have been growing for me. This is mycelium. And I inoculated these paths with wine cap or Stropharia mushrooms back about a year ago now. And so these paths have been growing the mycelium for these Stropharia mushrooms, and I expect these wine cap mushrooms to start popping up soon. So as I'm digging up this path, I'm not taking every ounce of this out, so the mushrooms will probably still pop up this spring, and they'll pop up elsewhere in the garden beds. But I'm also taking this path and I'm spreading it into the garden beds, and so now wherever this mycelium hasn't reached, probably this entire 10th of an acre section will be fully inoculated with wine cap mushrooms by the end of the year. So there you go. If you hate wasted space, if you hate paths because you can't grow tomatoes there, remember there's still a lot you can grow. You can even save space by not having to worry about building a compost bin. Bury your food scraps directly underneath the path, a couple inches of wood chips on top, and they'll be composting there too. So you're growing yourself lots of compost, you're growing yourself lots of wood chips, and all on space that most people overlook or just waste. If I had time and energy, I'd dig up this whole path and plop everything onto the garden beds. Not sure if I'll get there, but at least I'm doing sections right where I see the wood chips are thinnest, or where plants need the nutrients the most. And then I'll come back and I will refill in these holes, or refill in the whole path with fresh wood chips, so that way I have fresh wood chips to break down and I can use them next year.